The key wouldn't turn. I stood frozen on my own porch, the crisp October air of Pine Ridge Estates biting my knuckles as I fumbled with what should have been a routine motion. My grandfather's A-frame cabin, a weathered cedar haven at the end of Whispering Pines Lane, was my escape from the city's grind. But the lock, gleaming brass, alien in its newness, mocked me where my old, tarnished one belonged. Through the window, shadows moved. Suitcases splayed across my living room floor, a child's sneakers kicked near my coffee table, a stranger's jacket slung over my armchair. My sanctuary had been invaded. Before I could process it, a shrill voice pierced the mountain quiet. "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" I spun to see Karen Whitfield, Pine Ridge's HOA vice president, barreling up my gravel driveway, her designer heels wobbling on the uneven stones. Her usual smug smirk was gone, replaced by a panicked flush that clashed with her tailored blazer. Her eyes darted from me to the cabin, wild with alarm. "You're not supposed to be here," she stammered, clutching her ever-present clipboard like a shield. I kept my voice steady, though my pulse hammered. "Karen, this is my cabin. Why are there strangers inside? And why's my lock changed?" Let me rewind to how I ended up locked out of my own home, with Karen looking like she'd seen a ghost. I'm Marcus Chen, a 42-year-old software engineer who trades code for solitude whenever I can. 3 years ago, I inherited my grandfather's 2-bedroom cabin in Pine Ridge Estates, a gated mountain community 3 hours northwest of Austin, nestled against national forest land. It's no luxury chalet, just 900 square feet of creaky floors, a stone fireplace, and a porch where I sip coffee under a canopy of pines, the air sharp with cedar and earth. I visit 4 or 5 times a year, fleeing the corporate hamster wheel for hiking trails and starlit nights. Pine Ridge's HOA came with the deed, an unwanted baggage I tolerated for the cabin's isolation. For 2 years, I flew under their radar, my absences sparing me their petty decrees. But Karen Whitfield, elected vice president 2 years ago, had other plans. She'd transformed Pine Ridge from a laid-back retreat into her personal fiefdom, wielding bylaws like a scepter. She measured lawns with a ruler, fined neighbors for unapproved mulch shades, and once tried to ban wind chimes, claiming they disrupted the mountain ambience. Her McMansion, a glass and stone behemoth across the community, loomed over lesser cabins, her HOA badge pinned like a dictator's medal. I dodged her wrath, until that fateful October morning. The 3-hour drive from Austin had been a balm, my truck's windows down, autumn air crisp with pine and leaf mold. I'd stopped at Murphy's General Store, where old Bill Murphy, his apron dusted with flour, warned of an early cold snap. "Stock up, Marcus," he'd said, tossing me a bag of local apples. I arrived at noon, planning to winterize the cabin, drain pipes, check the roof, before snow hit. But the new lock stopped me cold. Through the window, a family bustled inside. A man unpacking groceries, a woman folding blankets, 2 kids chasing each other around my oak dining table. Then came Karen's voice, high and frantic. "You're supposed to be... the records show..." She trailed off, her clipboard trembling. "Show what, Karen?" I asked, my calm a thin veneer over rising fury. Before she could answer, the cabin door creaked open. A man my age, with a dad bod and a puzzled frown, stepped out. "Can I help you?" he asked, glancing between us. Behind him, a woman and 2 kids, maybe 8 and 10, peered out, suitcases open like they'd settled in for a week. "I'm Marcus Chen, the owner," I said, extending a hand. "And you are?" His face cycled through confusion, disbelief, then anger. "David Park. We rented this cabin through mountainretreats.com for $2,000, a week's vacation." My stomach lurched. Rented my cabin? David pulled out his phone, showing a listing. Pine Ridge Luxury Cabin, managed by KW Property Solutions. Photos showcased my porch, my fireplace, even my vintage lantern collection. Quai de Boeuf, Karen Whitfield. I turned to her. She was backing toward her car, heels crunching gravel. "This is a misunderstanding," she blurted. "A mix-up with the community property system." "No," I said, stepping forward. We're discussing this here. You changed my locks and rented my home. David's voice rose. This isn't a legitimate rental. Karen insisted. It's valid. The HOA can manage vacant properties. Bylaws, Section 12, Subsection 4. Properties empty over 90 days are community assets. I laughed, incredulous. Abandoned? I was here in August. I paid dues, taxes, everything. Try again. Karen's composure cracked, her face paling. Empty cabins are a blight. Wildlife, fire hazards, property values. David, now livid, chimed in. We drove 6 hours, took time off, planned this for our kids. You're saying we're in a scam? I dialed 911, ignoring Karen's pleas to work this out. Then I called Janet Rodriguez, my lawyer friend who'd been itching to gut Pine Ridge's HOA since they fined her sister for overly white curtains. Marcus, this is gold, Janet said, her voice gleeful. Send me everything. By the time Deputy Mike Harrison arrived, a crowd had gathered, neighbours in flannel, drawn by the commotion. Karen summoned Brad Tompkins, the HOA president, a slick real estate developer who treated Pine Ridge like his personal networking hub. His Rolex glinted as he strode up, but even he looked uneasy as I laid out the situation. New locks, strangers in my home, Karen's fake rental. Karen, what did you do? Brad asked, edging away from her. She straightened, defiant. I implemented the vacant property initiative we discussed. These cabins sit empty, they're a waste. I put them to use. Brad's jaw tightened. We discussed a concept, Karen. No vote, no authorization to change locks or rent properties. Deputy Harrison, notebook out, summarized. Ms. Whitfield changed Mr. Chen's locks without consent and rented his cabin to the Parks. I nodded. Pressing charges. Karen sputtered. I was helping the community. Rental funds went to the HOA. I held up David's phone. Then why is the listing under KW Property Solutions, not Pine Ridge HOA? Her mouth opened, then closed. In a panic, she bolted for her car, heels skidding. Harrison's voice boomed, Ma'am, stop right there. She froze, a deer in headlights. The next hours blurred. Statements, photos, David's family shell-shocked but grateful when I offered them the weekend as my guests. Not your fault, I told David, handing his kids hot cocoa. Stay, figure things out. Karen, cuffed in Harrison's cruiser, kept wailing about misunderstandings, then dropped a bomb. I've done this for months. The Johnsons, Walkers, Hendersons, when they went to Europe. It's a service. Brad paled. You're admitting to multiple rentals? The investigation, led by Detective Sarah Chen, no relation, peeled back Karen's scheme like layers of rotten wood. For 8 months, she'd targeted absentee owners, changing locks on 6 cabins and listing them through her shell company, KW Property Solutions. She'd forged HOA documents, fabricated maintenance excuses, fumigation for the Johnsons, plumbing for the Walkers, and pocketed $40,000, funneling just enough into the HOA to dodge suspicion. Her records, meticulously kept, were her undoing, detailing every rental, payment, and fake form. She was proud of it, Detective Chen told me, flipping through a binder of evidence. 3 other owners came forward. The Johnsons, duped by a fumigation ruse. The Walkers, fed lies about plumbing. The Hendersons, unaware their cabin was rented during their European trip. Neighbours whispered of Karen's past overreaches, fining a widow for unapproved bird feeders, banning a veteran's flagpole. But this was a new low. The legal fallout was swift and merciless. Karen faced 6 counts of breaking and entering, 6 counts of fraud, identity theft for forging documents, and embezzlement. District Attorney Michelle Torres, a no-nonsense prosecutor, saw a chance to make a statement. This isn't just theft, it's a betrayal of trust, she told the Pine Ridge Gazette. Abusing HOA power to steal homes, even temporarily, demands accountability. The trial, held in a packed county courthouse, was a spectacle. Karen's lawyer argued she believed her actions were HOA sanctioned, but her shell company and hidden accounts screamed intent. I testified, voice steady, about finding strangers in my cabin. David Park described his family's shattered vacation. Other owners shared their violations. Brad, distancing himself, confirmed no HOA vote ever greenlit her scheme. The judge's verdict was scathing. Ms. Whitfield, you turned trust into a weapon, treating neighbours' homes as your personal ATM. Karen got 3 years in prison, eligible for parole after 18 months, plus $60,000 in restitution for victims' legal fees and damages. Her gasp, 3 years, I was helping, echoed as bailiffs led her out, her defiance crumbling. Pine Ridge transformed. Brad resigned, shamed by association. A new board, led by Clara Evans, a retired teacher, slashed Karen's draconian rules. Wind chimes returned, their tinkling a quiet rebellion. Neighbours rallied, hosting potlucks at my cabin, the Park family joining with homemade kimchi. I installed new locks, my key turning smoothly again. Karen's McMansion sold at auction, her family fleeing to parts unknown. A young couple moved in, their kids' laughter now mingling with the pine's whisper. I hung a photo in my cabin, my porch at dusk, the forest beyond, captioned, Home Reclaimed. It's a reminder, tyrants fall when resolve meets justice. Got an HOA horror story? Drop it below. Like if this mountain saga gripped you, and stay tuned for more tales where truth locks out tyranny.